A people mover or automated people mover is a type of grade-separated mass transit system. The term is generally used only to describe systems serving relatively small areas such as airports, downtown districts or theme parks, but is sometimes applied to considerably more complex automated systems. The term was originally applied to 3 different systems, developed roughly at the same time. One was Skybus, an automated mass transit system prototyped by the Westinghouse Electric Corporation beginning in 1964. The second, alternately called the People Mover and Minirail, opened in Montreal at Expo 67. Finally the last, called People Mover or WEDway PeopleMover, was an attraction that was originally presented by Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and that opened at Disneyland in 1967. Now, however, the term people mover is generic, and may use technology such as monorail, duorail, automated guideway transit or maglev. Propulsion may involve conventional onboard electric motors, linear motors or cable traction. Generally speaking, larger APMs are referred to by other names. The most generic is automated guideway transit, which encompasses any automated system regardless of size. Some complex APMs deploy fleets of small vehicles over a track network with offline stations, and supply near non-stop service to passengers. These taxi-like systems are more usually referred to as personal rapid transit. Larger systems, with vehicles with 20 to 40 passengers, are sometimes referred to as group rapid transit, although this term is not particularly common. Other complex APMs have similar characteristics to mass transit systems, and there is no clear-cut distinction between a complex APM of this type and an automated mass transit system. Another term like metro is also applied to describe the system worldwide. History Never Stop Railway One of the first automated systems for human transportation was the screw-driven Never Stop Railway, constructed for the British Empire Exhibition at Wembley, London in 1924. This railway consisted of 88 unmanned carriages, on a continuous double track along the northern and eastern sides of the exhibition, with reversing loops at either end. The carriages ran on 2 parallel concrete beams and were guided by pulleys running on the inner side of these concrete beams, and were propelled by gripping a revolving screw thread running between the tracks in a pit. By adjusting the pitch of this thread at different points, the carriages could be sped up, or slowed down to a walking pace at stations, to allow passengers to join and leave. The railway ran reliably for the 2 years of the exhibition, and was then dismantled. Small sections of this track bed, and a nearby heavy rail track bed, have been proposed for reuse. Goodyear and Stevens Adamson In late 1949, Mike Kendall, chief engineer and chairman of the board of Stevens Adamson Manufacturing Company, an Illinois-based manufacturer of conveyor belts and systems, asked L. Nielsen, an engineer in the Industrial Products Division of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, if Goodyear had ever considered working on people movers. He felt that with Goodyear's ability to move materials in large quantities on conveyor belts they should consider moving batches of people. 4 years of engineering design, development and testing led to a joint patent being issued for 3 types of people movers, named Spedwalk, Speedramp, and Carvier. Goodyear would sell the concept and Stevens Adamson would manufacture and install the components. A spedwalk consisted of a flat conveyor belt riding on a series of rollers, or a flat slippery surface, moving at 1.5 miles per hour. The passengers would walk onto the belt and could stand or walk to the exit point. They were supported by a moving handrail. Customers were expected to include airport terminals, ballparks, train stations, etc. Today, several manufacturers produce similar units called moving walkways. A speedramp was very similar to a spedwalk but it was used to change elevations up or down a floor level. This could have been accomplished by an escalator, but the speedramp would allow wheeled luggage, small handcarts etc. to ride the belt at an operating cost predicted to be much lower than escalators or elevators. The first successful installation of a speedramp was in the spring of 1954 at the Hudson and Manhattan Railroad Station in Jersey City, New Jersey to connect the Erie Railroad to the Hudson and Manhattan tubes. This unit was 227 feet long with a rise of 22 feet on a 15-degree grade, and only cost $75,000. A cavia consisted of many small cubicles or cars carrying 10 people riding on a flat conveyor belt from point A to point B. The belt rode on a series of motorized rollers. The purpose of the motorized rollers was to facilitate the gradual acceleration and deceleration speeds on the conveyor belt and overcome the tendency of all belts to stretch at startup and during shutdown. At point A, passengers would enter a spedwalk running parallel to the belts and cars of the cavia. The cars would be moving at the same speed as the spedwalk. The passengers would enter the cars and be seated, while the motorized rollers would increase the speed of the cars up to the traveling speed. At point B, passengers could disembark and by means of a series of flat slower belts go to other cavias to other destinations or out to the street. The cars at point B would continue on rollers around a semicircle and then reverse the process carrying passengers back to point A. The initial installation was to be the 42nd Street Shuttle in New York City between Times Square and Grand Central Station. The first mention of the cavia in a hardback book was in There's Adventure in Civil Engineering by Neil P. Ruzick, one of a series of books published by Popular Mechanics in the 1950s in their career series. In the book, the cavia was already installed and operational in downtown Los Angeles. Colonel Sidney H. Bingham, chairman of the New York City Board of Transportation, had several meetings with a group of architects who were trying to revamp the whole New York City subway system in the heart of town to connect Pennsylvania Station, Madison Square Garden, Times Square, Grand Central and several new office complexes together. Several of these architects were involved in other programs, and in later years many variations of the cavia people movers were developed. In November 1954, the New York City Transit Authority issued an order to Goodyear and Stevens Adamson to build a complete cavia system between Times Square and Grand Central. A brief summary and confirmation can be found in Time magazine on November 15, 1954. Under the heading Subway of the Future. The cost was to be under $4 million, but the order was never fulfilled due to political difficulties. Chocolate World in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Disneyland in California, and Walt Disney World in Florida are among many locations that have used variations of the cavia concept. Other developments. The term People Mover was used by Walt Disney, when he and his Imagineers were working on the new 1967 Tomorrowland at Disneyland. The name was used as a working title for a new attraction, the People Mover. According to Imagineer Bob Gurr, the name got stuck, and it was no longer a working title. Starting in the late 1960s and into the 1970s, people movers were the topic of intense development around the world. Worried about the growing congestion and pollution in downtown areas due to the spread of cars, many countries started studying mass transit systems that would lower capital costs to the point where any city could afford to deploy them. Most of these systems used elevated guideways, which were much less expensive to deploy than underground tunnels. However, elevating the track causes problems with noise, so traditional steel wheel-on-rail solutions were rare as they squealed when rounding bends in the rails. Rubber-tired solutions were common, but some systems used hovercraft techniques or various magnetic levitation systems. Two major government-funded APM projects are notable. In Germany, Mannesmann Demag and Messerschmitt Bar Paragraph LKOW Blochen developed a system known as Cabine Taxi during the 1970s. Cabin Taxi featured small cars with from 4 to 8 seats that were called to pick up passengers on demand and drove directly to their destination. The stations were offline, allowing the cabs to stop by moving off the main lines while other cars continued to their destinations. The system was designed so the cars could be adapted to run on top or bottom of the track, allowing dual-track movements from a single elevated guideway only slightly wider than the cars. A test track was completed in 1975 and ran until development was completed in 1979, but no deployments followed and the companies abandoned the system shortly thereafter. In the U.S., a 1966 federal bill provided funding that led to the development of APM systems under the Downtown People Mover program. 4 systems were developed: Ruser OMAG, LTV's AirTrans, Ford's APT and Otis Elevators hovercraft design. A major presentation of the systems was organized as Transpo 72 at Dulles Airport, where the various systems were presented to delegations from numerous cities in the U.S. Prototype systems and test tracks were built during the 1970s. One notable example was Pittsburgh's Skybus, which was proposed by the Port Authority of Allegheny County to replace its streetcar system, which, having large stretches of private right-of-way, was not suited for bus conversion. A short demonstration line was set up in South Park and large tracts of land was secured for its facilities. However, opposition arose to the notion that it would replace the streetcar system. This, combined with the immaturity of the technology and other factors, led the Port Authority to abandon the project and pursue alternatives. By the start of the 1980s, most politicians had lost interest in the concept, and the project was repeatedly defunded in the early 1980s. Only 2 APMs were developed as a part of the People Mover program in the U.S., the Metro Mover in Miami, and the Detroit People Mover. From development to implementation, although many government-funded systems were generally considered failures, several APM systems developed by other groups have been much more successful. The first driverless public transport rail networks are the Port Island Line deployed in Kobe, Japan, and the French VAR copyright École automatique la copyright Guideway, first deployed in Lille in 1983. The Vancouver SkyTrain system is the largest fully automated metro system in the world, with over 60 kilometers of track. These systems are on the heavy end of the APM scale. Lighter systems with shorter tracks are widely deployed at airports. The world's first airport People Mover was installed in 1971 at Tampa International Airport in the United States. APMs have now become common at large airports and hospitals in the United States. Driverless metros have become common in Europe and parts of Asia. The economics of automated trains tend to reduce the scales so tied to mass transit, so that small-scale installations are feasible. Thus cities normally thought of as too small to build a metro are now doing so. On September 30, 2006, the Peach Liner in Komaki, Aichi Prefecture, Japan became that nation's first People Mover to cease operations. Manufacturers Heavy APMs Ansaldo Streets, Bombardier Innovia Metro, Bombardier Innovia Monorail, Kawasaki Heavy Industries Rolling Stock Company, Mitsubishi Heavy Industry, VAR copyright École automatique la copyright Guideway, Hyundai Rodham. Light APMs Ansaldo Streets, Bombardier Innovia APM, DCC Doppler Cable Car, Liatner Group, Poma Group, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Crystal Mover, Parry People Movers, Hyundai Rodham. Examples Urban Transit Brazil, Sao Paulo Metro, Line 15. Canada, Toronto, Ontario, Scarborough RT, Link Train, Vancouver, British Columbia, SkyTrain. Denmark, Copenhagen Metro. France, Lane, Lille, Paris, Rennes, Toulouse. Germany, Dortmund H-Bahn, Darwin-Quartersdorf SkyTrain at Darwin-Quartersdorf Airport. Hong Kong, Disneyland Resort Line, Hong Kong International Airport Automated People Mover, South Island Line, Hong Kong Ocean Park Ocean Express. Italy. Perugia, Minimetris Squared, Milan, Mila Line 2, S. Raffaele Hospital, Milan, Metro Line 5, Venice, Venice People Mover Isola del Troncheto, Piazzale Roma. Turin, Turin Metro. Japan. Hiroshima, Astram Line, Kobe, Port Liner, Rocker Liner, Komaki, Peach Liner, Nagoya, Linamo, Nagoya Guideway Bus, Osaka, New Tram, Saitama, New Shuttle, Sakura, Yamamanya Karagorka Line, Tokorozawa, Sabu Railway Yamaguchi Line, Tokyo, Urakamome, Nippori Tonari Liner, Yokohama, Seaside Line. Malaysia, Klerna Line, KLIA Aerotrain. The Philippines, UP Diliman Automated Guideway Transit, Bicutan Automated Guideway Transit. Portugal, Oeiras, SATU, Porto, Funicular dos Guindeias. Singapore, Bukit Panjang Light Rail Transit, Sengkang Light Rail Transit, Punggol Light Rail Transit, Changi Airport SkyTrain. South Korea U Line, Shinbundang Line, Busan Subway Line 4, Yonjan Ever Line. South Africa, Durban People Mover, Durban Transport. People's Republic of China, Zhujiang New Town Automated People Mover System in Guangzhou, SK in Shanghai. Republic of China, Inhu Line. United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Dubai Metro. United Kingdom, Birmingham Airport Air Rail Link System, Gatwick Airport Terminal Transfer, Heathrow Terminal 5, 5B and 5C Shuttle, London Stansted Airport Transit System, Ultra Personal Transit System, London Heathrow Airport, Docklands Light Railway. United States. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL SkyTrain, Chicago, Illinois, ATS Chicago ORD, Detroit, Michigan, Detroit People Mover, Huntsville, Alabama, Huntsville Hospital People Mover, Indianapolis, Indiana, Indiana University Health People Mover, Jacksonville, Florida, Jacksonville Skyway, Las Colinas, Irving, Texas, Las Colinas APT System, Paradise, Nevada, Mandalay Bay Tram, Newark, New Jersey, AirTrain Newark, Oakland, California, BART to Oakland International Airport, Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix SkyTrain, Miami, Florida, MetroMover, MIA Mover, Morgantown, West Virginia, Morgantown Personal Rapid Transit, Queens, New York, AirTrain JFK Airport, Washington, District of Columbia, United States Capital Subway System Dirks Earnhardt Line. Venezuela, Caracas, Cabletron Bolivariano. Airport equals. Many large international airports around the world feature people mover systems to transport passengers between terminals or within a terminal itself. Some people mover systems at airports connect with other public transportation systems to allow passengers to travel into the airport city. Rural and suburban transit equals. The Pillar Track Regional People Mover is a concept of a people mover system that is optimized for rural and suburban areas with lower population density. The aim of the system is to provide short intervals and appropriate riding and waiting times outside of urban areas. The former People Mover attraction at Disneyland, which ran from 1967 to 1995. The Tomorrowland Transit Authority attraction, which was formerly called the WEDway PeopleMover, at Walt Disney World, the Hogwarts Express attraction, a funicular railroad within Universal Orlando Resort that connects the Wizarding World of Harry Potter sections, Hogsmeade at Islands of Adventure and Diagon Alley at Universal Studios Orlando, West Virginia University. A group rapid transit system, similar to personal rapid transit. The Huntsville Hospital tram system connects different buildings of the Huntsville Hospital system. Slope car, a small automated monorail found in various parts of Japan, can be considered as a simple form of people mover. In addition to the Las Vegas monorail, several people mover systems are in place in the Las Vegas Valley, Nevada. 3 connect the McCarran International Airport Terminals 1 and 3 to its C, D, and E gates. Another connects the Mirage to Treasure Island Hotel and Casino. 2 People Mover connects hotels on the Las Vegas Strip. The Mandalay Bay Tram connects Excalibur, Luxor, and Mandalay Bay. The City Center Tram connects Monte Carlo, the Crystals in City Center, and the Bellagio. The Minirail automated monorail at Expo 67, which incorporated track and rolling stock from the 1964 Swiss National Exhibition. See also. References. External links, information on electronically guided people mover systems.